For 3 centuries, Al-Idrisi's map was the most accurate picture of the known world that existed. The man who made it was a Muslim scholar working for a Christian king, and almost nobody knows his name. By the end of this, you'll understand why that arrangement, a Muslim cartographer at a Norman court, produced something neither world could have built alone. And there's a detail about how Al-Idrisi oriented his map that changes how you read every claim about medieval Islamic science. I'll come back to that. Al-Idrisi was born around 1100 in Ceuta, Morocco. He studied at the university in Cordoba and spent years traveling across North Africa, the Mediterranean, and into Europe, as far north as England. In 1138, he arrived at the Sicilian court of the Norman king Roger II. The Normans had conquered Arab Sicily in the final decades of the 11th century. Roger ruled a linguistically and culturally diverse population. Arab artisans produced architecture for the court at Palermo, and Arab bureaucratic structures remained in place. This was not a neutral setting. It was a post-conquest state, and Al-Idrisi chose to stay and work inside it. That decision is what the map exists. Roger commissioned Al-Idrisi to build an updated picture of the known world. To ensure accuracy, 15 years went into examining existing maps and interviewing travelers. Al-Idrisi drew on 3 centuries of Islamic map-making knowledge that was entirely unknown to Western cartographers. He kept only testimony that held up under cross-examination, retaining only that part on which there was complete agreement and seemed credible, excluding what was contradictory. That is not mysticism. That is an empirical method, operating in 1140. Here is what most accounts skip. Al-Idrisi was not just executing Roger's commission. He was synthesizing Ptolemy, 3 centuries of Abbasid geographic scholarship, and his own field observations into something neither tradition had produced. Al-Idrisi completed 3 major works at the Sicilian court: a silver planisphere depicting the world, a world map divided into 70 sections across 7 climatic zones, and a geographic text, the Kitab Nuzhat al-Mushtaq, also known as the Book of Roger. Roger II had the world map engraved on a disc of solid silver, weighing approximately 400 pounds. Now, here is the detail about the map's orientation that I flagged at the start. Al-Idrisi placed south at the top. That was standard practice in Islamic cartography, which oriented maps with Mecca at the most prominent position. When modern reproductions flip the map to put north at the top, they are not correcting Al-Idrisi. They are imposing a convention that did not exist yet. Al-Idrisi's direct impact on European mapmaking was very limited. The Columbus connection you may have read about is not supported by the historical record. The first Latin translation of the Book of Roger was not published until 1619, more than a century after Columbus sailed. What Al-Idrisi built mattered. But it mattered most within the Islamic world, where his work shaped geographic thinking for generations. After Roger's death, Al-Idrisi produced a second edition for his son William I. When a palace revolt broke out in 1160, the Latin version was burned and the silver disc disappeared. Al-Idrisi fled to North Africa, taking the Arabic manuscript with him. 10 manuscript copies of the Kitab Nuzhat al-Mushtaq survive. The earliest, now held at the Bibliothèque Nationale de France, dates to around 1300. The silver disc is gone. The original map, physically, does not exist. What survives is the text, and that text remained a reference point for Muslim geographers for centuries after Al-Idrisi died. About that orientation, south at the top, Mecca prominent, no boundary lines between Christian and Muslim territories. Al-Idrisi's maps omit political borders, seeking to offer an objective geography of landmass and human settlement. A Muslim scholar, working inside a Christian kingdom, produced a map that refused to draw lines between the 2 worlds. That is not an accident. That is an argument. Al-Idrisi did not map the world for posterity. He mapped it for accuracy, and the accuracy outlasted everything else.